The final round of the 2021 Coupe Tyre New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship is proudly brought to you by Worldcraft Engineering and these valued partners. Round 1 of the Coupe Tyre New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship kicked off in April at Sydney Motorsport Park, minus defending champion Grant Dillman with that car off the circuit for the season, looking for some upgrades. Nick Smith brought out the Turbo SR20 RX-7 and took the fight up to Brad Shiels in the Fiat 124 Coupe immediately. Those two guys putting on a show out in front. There's a few dramas for those down the pack. You can see there the Duggan Hotel Aston Martin pulling over with an engine failure, and a good amount of battles as well. Chris Jackson bringing back out the Calibra. Race 2 saw Paul Boucher pinch a victory when the Fiat had a few dramas electrical wise for Brad Shiels, pulling an end to a solid weekend for him. And it was an end to the weekend as well for Nick Smith, with an unfortunate start line contact causing him to make light contact with the wall, but was not able to get the car refired in time for the final race of the weekend. A bit more contact further down the field as well. That all left Brad Shiels to take victory in round 1 and start his charge towards what would hopefully be a championship title. Round 2 saw the championship head to Wakefield Park in May, where the National Series joined the state runners to give us an impressive field of sports sedans. You can see some seasoned campaigners in amongst the racing with these guys. Despite the cold weather and fog delays, the racing on track was as hot as ever, and you can see that there were plenty of battles throughout. Out in front, it was Randall in the Sab who showed the way in the opening race of the weekend, though dramas for him would cause him to retire from the weekend on Sunday. Steve Lacey trying to take the state battle up to Brad Shiels while also campaigning in the National Series as well. Nick Smith had to fight his way back through after more electrical gremlins with that car as they worked them out in the opening season for it. He fought his way back through to get some good championship points despite those dramas. Out in front though, Andre Heimgartner was able to push past Brad Shiels and then chase down to Marcy in the closing stages to score his first sports sedans victory in the Duggan family hotel car. Of course, that car a long-time runner in New South Wales sports sedans, and we'll see it back out in future rounds as well. So taking a look at the championship point score as we head into the final round, Brad Shiels with a fairly comfortable margin at the top as we look forward to the Coupe Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship final round at Wakefield Park. Opening race for what is the final round of the 2021 Coupe Tyre New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship. Getting away in the lead, Brad Shiels picking up from a good qualifying effort, Gary, and settling in behind him you got Glenn Pro and Greg Boyle.
Yeah, Brad Shiels obviously coming into this round with the title basically in the bag. He only has to finish one race and it's assured. And at the moment he leads Pro in the Supra with its LS power, and of course the skyline of Boyle in 3rd spot. Then we've got the first of the space frame car, well, second of the space frame cars in Billy Chetton in 4th spot. And as you can see on the track there, there's some rivers running across it, and this has really made it difficult for a lot of the competitors to know whether they should go out on wet tyres or to go out on dry rubber, and I think most have selected to go out on wet. So we're going to see some changes during this race as the wet tyres start to fall away.
That's it. You can see those rivers there. The worst one's probably out of the fishhook, where they're trying to get the traction down, not affecting Greg Boyle as much as everybody else, it seems, as he powers away from Glen Pro up the hill. But down out of the fishhook, right where they need to put the power down, there's water running across the track. You don't want to go off the circuit either. Not that you would on a dry day, but in the wet day it's going to be even worse because there is a lot of mud and standing water out in the grass. So it is a question of keeping it on the island, trying to battle as hard as you can, and we can see here Spiteri to the outside of Ryan, not able to do it up to turn 3.
Well, he's got the advantage of having 4-wheel drive like Boyle does, so not continuous 4-wheel drive in Boyle's case, but certainly with the Evo, he has that option there that helps him in these situations. Here we've got Billy Chetton making a move on the inside of Pro going through turn 10. Should have the power down out of the corner. And then we've got Willem Furcher, the next one through in that amazing Toyota 86. Runs an LS engine. It was previously in his Monaro, which is on sold now. And you can see a big dive bomb there for Pro to get a spot back, but how long we'll have it, we don't know. And we've got, of course, Cameron in the background ready to swoop when either or all these people have problems.
I was going to say, it's become a 4-car battle all of a sudden, because Pro was not content with being overtaken there. Fight it straight back down the inside of Furcher. Now Furcher has to battle back and win the Lee Car Care car and gets back to the inside. And you just see that big river there. That's what's thrown Pro to the outside of the track. And he's had to do a lot of defence to Cameron, who will get the switch back onto the back straight now. The power of the Commodore should be able to, and yes, sure enough, drives him past.
Well, that's a 5.7 litre car, which is an early model Chev, sorry, not early model, but early configured Chev engine, as opposed to what, say, Billy Chetton's running in the Camaro there, which is a 6 litre later spec engine. But Cameron does a really good job, and he's potentially up for second spot in the championship.
He just needs to keep it clean and maybe try to follow Furcher through here. Oh, there you go, right on the back of Chetton as they come through that big water area. You can see Furcher got the move done on the entry to the fishhook, and the drive he got out of there just made him open the gap up to Birrell Chetton very, very comfortably in the end. He's got probably 4 or 5 car lengths as they come onto the main straight. It's been a great drive from Willem Furcher.
It has, and that car continues to, or that car driver combination continues to defy the logics of what it can do. Toyota 86, basically a chassis car running an LS engine in it, and it just performs above what you expect to see out of it.
It does, as he comes down.
Cameron just going past Chetton, who's really certainly struggling in these sorts of conditions. And I guess it's going from the dry to the wet areas, and it is a stream at the moment. Hopefully by the end of the weekend it might be more of a puddle than a stream.
Oh no! Greg Boyle backwards into the gravel trap at the final corner, so there's been some sort of massive drama there. You'd have to think something with brakes, because he's rotated it into the gravel trap. Almost looks like the rears have locked as Cameron as well. I'd say he's got caught on that river of water at turn 1.
I'd say so. Good work by our cameraman down on that corner as well to get that shot. And you can see the 4-wheel drive comes in handy at times as he gets out of that sand trap and heads towards the pits. And 2-wheel drive even gets you out of the sand trap as well, because it'll be a compacted type of sand trap with the amount of water that we've had in the lead up to this meeting.
It also means we've avoided the safety car, which is a good moment for these races. They're not the longest races, so you don't really want to waste any time under safety car. And now look at this, Glen Pro under pressure from Phil Ryan behind in the LS-powered Datsun, and then just behind that, Daniel Smith in another LS-powered, but Nissan 300 ZX.
Well, we can see that Pro even getting in a bit of strife out of turn 8 and taking advantage of it has been Dan Smith, who's could see that Phil Ryan was just basically not wanting getting involved in that incident with a Supra, and you can see he's still coming back at him now. So this is a great 4-wheel battle.
Yeah.
Dan Smith down the inside, Chris Jackson around the outside in the Calibra, and just runs it a little bit wide on the exit of turn 2. Has to settle back in to the 4th of this group.
That was almost a brilliant move, wasn't it, around the outside of turn 1? So Chris Jackson finding a bit of pace in the late stage of this race. We're coming towards the end of it now. Just a couple of laps left to go in the first endeavour. And I tell you what, they've had everything thrown at them. And Birrell Chetton might have something more thrown at him here, because there's 4 cars battling for position, breathing down his neck.
Well, the problem is someone like Phil Ryan, who's in second position, he's trying to manoeuvre his way in, but he's got to be watching where the other cars behind him are. And at the moment, Smith's going to go around the outside. Pro tries to cover everything, and I think Smith will go, no, he won't, as Ryan hangs on. Jackson down in there. Now, Jackson theoretically should have the power to get past those 3 cars with fairly easily, but the track's blocked. There's cars everywhere.
Ryan with a huge slide through 1. Daniel Smith's gone very late under brakes. Ryan slides it out. They're all on the limit of what they can do, and then Glen Pro gets murdered up into turn 3.
Yeah, and Phil, who probably had the ugliest exit from the corner, comes out ahead of them all.
Brilliant battling from these 4 cars. You can see different methodologies of going racing, different engine transmission setups, and they've all come out to find themselves on the same part of track. But one guy who's not anywhere near all of them is Brad Shiels. He continues his winning ways in 2021.
And he gets a checkered flag, and that wraps up the championship for him. Willem Furcher in second position. Birrell Chetton takes out third. And Phil Ryan came out ahead of Glen Pro, Daniel Smith and Chris Jackson.
We'll have more Sports Sedans action brought to you by Worldcraft Engineering after the break.
Here we are for race 2, and again Brad Shiels shows the way. Furcher in second. Billy Chetton's got a little bit better start. As you can see, it's a little bit less cloudy. There's still a bit of wind around, and the streams have actually turned more into puddles now than what they were. So they'll be around a while because we're still getting this continuous water. It's just not making its way all over the track, and hopefully by the end of the day, the tyres, the tyre wear across the track will dry them out completely. But as you can see, Pro there follows Phil Ryan just ahead of Smith. And of course the battle continues with Jackson behind. Cameron on the comeback after his bit of a misdemeanour in race 1 is the next one in the freight train, you could say.
It's definitely not as wet in those rivers around the circuit as Daniel Smith around the outside of Pro. We take the onboard with Chris Jackson in the Kumo tyre, CSJ Engineering Calibra down the inside to take the position from Pro. Is he? I think he's just quite, yep, he's got there to take that one away. Now we're getting focused on Daniel Smith. But I tell you what, Gary, I've never seen so many drivers out for a track walk on a Sunday morning at a state meeting as we did this morning.
I think they were wishing they took brooms with them too. But as you can see, in the turn 1, as opposed to what it was in race 1, it's a lot drier. There's still a little puddle there. There's still one at turn 8, but the rest of the track is looking pretty smick at the moment.
Chris Jackson doing away with Daniel Smith at the blast down the straight. He now up to Phil Ryan, so he's making a good charge through the pack. You can just see flashing through the back of shot as well, the black GTR of Greg Boyle. Definitely brake failure in race 1, had that confirmed from the pit lane, so he's looking to fight back and get a good result in this second race.
Yeah, at the end of the back straight's not the best place to have it, but fortunately the speed was arrested by the sand trap down there and he was able to get out of it. In the meantime, we've got a bit of action going on at the front. Shiels and Chetton really turning it on, and Chetton, after dramas in race 1 with just not suitable to the conditions for the amount of power he's got, is really putting the pressure on Shiels for perhaps a race win.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Shiels can hold off Chetton. Chetton's struggled at this circuit so far this year, hasn't he? He hasn't had the best of runs for what we expect of the previous state and national champion. He definitely has the power in that car.
We've got a drama for Brad Shiels, in our previous race leader and race 1 winner, is slowed dramatically coming out of the fishhook. In the meantime, Chris Jackson goes past Phil Ryan, takes over that position as they go down to turn 10 to complete another lap. Runs a little bit wide. Phil takes the narrow line, but he won't have the power to match the Calibra Chev down the straight and settles in behind him. So they'll now look to see whether Jackson, there we have Brad Shiels going to the pits. Unfortunately, his race is done. Meantime, here's our Division 2 runners. Rod Moynihan, John Spiteri and the Graham Smith Commodore, all fairly close contest at the moment.
They're having a good little battle here between these guys at the moment. Spiteri with the 4-wheel drive. We thought it would show itself a bit better in race 1 with those wet patches, but he didn't quite climb up the field as high as we expected him to. Probably not quite enough wet out there for him to be able to make inroads on those leading contenders. And you can just see, even though Wakefield Park, known for being a tight technical track, with a little bit of horsepower, you can keep something like an Evo behind.
Yeah, you would think that the 4-wheel drive of the Evo might make a difference out of the corners, but then the sheer horsepower of the Commodore would be enough to overcome that, and it has so far. As we can see that Moynihan continues to lead Spiteri, and they're just dropping off Graham Smith a little bit. And here's Chris Jackson's caught right up on the back of who was our race leader in Billy Chetton at the moment.
Viral Chetton's come under all sorts of pressure. It was a lot faster across the top from Chris Jackson, wasn't it? So he's been able to just close that gap up comfortably through that top section of the circuit.
He seems to come back from a long way back too.
Yeah.
And I think Billy's got a problem there.
He's forced his way to the inside. It becomes the outside here, but Birrell's given him the move, so Chetton loses the position. Chris Jackson goes up one more. The CSJ car continues its march to the front.
He would have taken over the lead when Brad had his drama, but in the meantime, Willem Furcher has got by as well. So we missed the obvious pass by Furcher in the Toyota on the Camaro driver. So at the moment, I think Chetton may have had an incident or a slight hiccup somewhere around the track.
He must have slid off somewhere, because you don't drop that much ground just from pace alone. It's Phil Ryan now under pressure from Cameron. Cameron with the tail light falling out of the Commodore. at the moment down the main straight, so he's either had a little bit of contact, maybe a brush with somebody, or it's one of those things that can just rattle loose. Yeah, no, but you know, a touch from the rear, somebody having a look, but it's probably most likely just rattled a little bit loose from hitting one of the curves.
I'd say there's probably a little bit of contact just in one of the earlier stages, first two corners.
He's all over the back of Ryan, isn't he?
Yeah, he should get him down here. And moves ahead, so that's another position. As I say, Cameron's just got to keep completing the races, and he's potentially up for second position. So this battle's not over for what effectively is second position in the race. Birch has checked out big time, and look who's come right up on the back of him as well is Greg Boyle in the Nissan Skyline.
Here we go, down in turn one, Chris Jackson showing the nose. So Chetton's now back in front for the battle for second place. A little bit of light contact, a little bit more light contact between the pair of them through one. Boyle has seen the opportunity, and there's contact on the run up the hill. Oh, look at the launch Boyle got though, and I think Chris Jackson's not going to make the corner. That tyre is down. He's off. So he's going to have to limp that one back around. We're very close to the end of this race, so it'll be interesting to see whether they decide to limp.
And Boyle, I think, may have been off as well. He has. So he comes back on.
Here's a replay of it from Chris Jackson's view. We're on board with the CSJ Calibra. You can just see he takes a little bit of curb, gives Chetton a little nudge. Now left-hand drive, you'll see Boyle, there he is. How quickly did he appear? No time to react for Chris Jackson. They're all driving in a straight line. They just sort of ran out of road in the middle of them,
and we can see where Boyle got into dramas. Too fast through turn 3. Probably a reaction from the touches put him offline going into 3. But in the meantime, we can see Willem Furcher will bring home the Toyota 86 Chevy powered or LS powered. Will take the win ahead of Billy Chetton, who recovered for second. Scott Cameron got up the third, Phil Ryan fourth, and Glenn Pro was fifth across the line.
A great second encounter there at Wakefield Park. We'll have more action from the Worldcraft supported Kumo Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans after the break. Wakefield Park Track Days. These track days provide opportunities for motoring enthusiasts to test the capabilities of their vehicles under controlled conditions on Wakefield Park's track. It's open to all types of cars, and sessions include open wheelers, race cars, street cars, supercarts, and driver training is available. There's heaps of amenities on site for a great day out, and group bookings are available. Head to the Wakefield Park website for more information.
The final outing for the New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship, brought to you by Kumo Tyres, and in this one we have to watch carefully because starting from the rear of the grid will be Brad Shiels in the Fiat rotary powered. Unfortunately had a fly-by-wire throttle issue in race 1, which took him out of the lead, so he's taking very easily to start with. In the meantime, it's Bill Chetton who's out in front with Willem Furcher, the winner of the previous race, in second position.
Willem's going to try to chase down the lead of this race, no doubt. I think once you've got a taste of victory, you don't want to give it away, do you? And this man doing the job again, Greg Boyle, coming through the field in the GTR. He's up against the four-wheel drive of John Spiteri. He'll get to the inside and have a look. And Furcher's to the lead of the race. So something's happened there to Birrell Chetton around the back section of the circuit.
I think he got a poor exit out of turn 9. Now he tries to move across the track. Furcher, of course, covers him. He's allowed to move once, and this is another move. It's just so he can line up for turn 1 and into turn 2. But I'm just surprised we haven't seen Shiels. I think he's gone to the pits straight away.
Yeah.
So whatever drama we had in race 2 is obviously done it again in race 3. Long shot out of turn 8 there gives us a good impression of these cars as they head up. And this is...
So that was the replay of Chetton being overtaken. So he got a little bit of slide out of the fish hook, and then Willem Furcher got the drive around the outside. You don't see many moves there to be able to do that. So definitely some bravery from Will Furcher to go round a car of the quality of Bill Chetton. He's got the lead of this race. You can see Greg Boyle working on the back of Glen Pro. It looks like he's got one fresh new left rear tyre on that GTR, just going by the white writing on the sidewall.
He obviously likes, well, he doesn't like having to start each race from the rear of the grid because he's got to make up so many positions, but he has at the moment, and Furcher continues to lead as he's stalked at the moment by Billy or Birrell Chetton, like to be known as Billy because it's Billy's Motorsports on the side of the car, and Pro IT obviously the backer of the Camaro Space Train Sports Sedan, chasing down a chassis car, which we hadn't seen a chassis car win a race for quite a long while. 2014, I think, was the last time. Jim Hunter at the World of the Subaru in a very wet Wakefield Park meeting. So, and as we mentioned there, Chetton has gone to the lead and is already pulling out a fair lead at this stage.
He's definitely found the pace in this third and final race of the weekend. They've been tuning the car up, trying to find where some of the speed has gone, and I think Birrell now starting to feel a lot more comfortable in that Pro IT Birrell's automotive car. Greg Boyle lays the licorice stripes out of the final corner to blast past Daniel Smith down the main straight. So Boyle absolutely has the mumbo in that GTR. As you can see, he comes down in turn 1 and 2, and just watch the drive he'll get here out of the corner up the hill. Just puts the foot down and away he goes.
And brings the skyline up. Let's hope he gets to the finish line this time. It'll be a nice change for him as he negotiates turns 4 and 5, and then heads down the hill again towards 6, 7, and then 8. And
they're all
Ryan.
Sorry. They're all feeling very comfortable out there, you'd have to think, with how they're sliding down the hill. They're all a bit wide of the line, but pushing a bit hard.
Well, it's probably the best race they've had so far as track conditions go, so that's why they're going a bit harder. And Boyle just quickly gets past Phil Ryan down the straight, takes that position away. Phil Ryan, of course, in a Division 2 car, which is based on lap times, by the way, in case anyone was wondering.
He's been punching pretty well, though, in that car all season, hasn't he? He's just there in the top 5, sitting there or thereabouts, but is able to pick up the pieces if anything happens in those top cars, and consistently finishes races as well.
It does, yeah. So reliability certainly on his side. And here we've got the Division 3 fight continues, and it's been Moynihan and Spiteri from the word go. And unfortunately, we've had a spin round by Dan Smith in the LS-powered Supra.
He's facing the wrong way in that car. It looks like the flame might have gone out, so we'll have to monitor that and see what happens.
It's got a local
safety car. Yeah,
local yellow at the moment. Green flag showing at the start-finish line again, but they haven't moved his car. He's finally got it started.
He's moved just as the safety car boards come out. So there you go, safety car situation. Daniel Smith gets going, and we go back to green flag racing. Now the safety cars re-entered the pit lane here, leaving Bill Chetton in charge of the race, and he's weaving as he comes down the straight very slowly to the start. So he knew he'd be under attack into turn 1, probably worrying most about Greg Boyle for the run up the hill, I would suspect. But I'm not sure how that weaving's going to go for him.
Yeah, Boyle's still got to get past a couple of competitors,
but he
does get Cameron going up the hill.
Did it very easily.
I think Scotty Cameron's just doing enough to make sure he gets second position in the championship.
Yeah, what a great effort by that team all the season as well.
That car hasn't been racing since for quite a few years, and to bring it back this year and over the 4 rounds to come out second in the championship's been a pretty good effort.
Yeah, the DCR Renskin racing car, huge support for that one down in the pits. The team put a lot of effort in. They've been racing across many categories, but back here in Sports Sedans, and I think thoroughly enjoying their time in the category as well, and enjoying a car with a significant history in Sports Sedans racing, but good to see it back out in new hands and having a strong campaign.
Yeah, and Dave Cameron, his dad, working in the pits as well, former racer, HQs most notably, whereas Scotty's done a bit of utes and other things, but seems he found a happy home now in Sports Sedans.
Willem Furcher chases down Bill Chetton at the end of this one. Now Birrell's been given a 5-second post-race penalty applied to him.
More than that.
Is it more than that?
30 seconds.
Oh, so it's a significant penalty.
So that's, we believe, is for weaving, but there was no safety car in front of him. Checkered flags out. Chetton first across the line, then it's Furcher, third spot, Boyle, which now becomes second. Cameron in third. Phil Ryan, Glenn Pro again, Rod Moynihan, 6th position for a Division 3 car, has been a pretty good effort. Then it's Spiteri. Billy gets pushed back to 8th position, and Dave Aiken the next one across the line.
Yeah, great final race there for the Kumo Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship. We caught up with Willem Furcher down in the pits to get his thoughts on his first victory for a round.
Feels pretty amazing for a brand new car, second time out to get a result. It's pretty rewarding. Yeah, it was really good. Would have loved Friday practice because we did a whole heap of changes since Eastern Creek, but nevertheless it stayed going for the weekend. We chipped away at it, so yeah. Like to thank like New South Wales Sports Sedan. It is really a family. It's great to be part of it. all the competitors like Philip Ryan that we've been bashing one another for years. It's just a great family. As far as sponsors go, I mean, Wimberley Car Care is the one that pays for this car, so got to say thank you, Wimberley Car Care.
We also can't forget a huge congratulations to our 2021 champion Brad Shiels in Joe Said's immaculate Fiat 124 Coupe. The team down there very deserving of the championship victory that has come their way. That wraps up the season, a condensed season for the Coupe Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship, proudly brought to you by Worldcraft Engineering for this final round. We hope you've enjoyed it all here on Blendline TV. Make sure to check out plenty of highlights across social in the off-season. We'll be back in 2022 with more great racing on track.